everybody. It's Lynne Scott Haggerman, and I have an astounding guest with me this morning. You guys are going to be beyond excited to hear this information. This is Dr. Weiping Yu, and he is a physicist, very distinguished physicist. And I want him to, and he's also a man of God, and I want him to share. He's going to teach us things in language we can all understand because that's what he does. But he is going to explain things. All of you love to know the truth. And I know all my followers, all you family and friends, you want to know where have we been lied to and what is the truth as best as we know now and how is God involved with whoever's story I'm bringing on. So Dr. Yu, thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you for having me on. It's my honor to be able to on your show.
Well, I'm excited. So, um, we had a lovely conversation before I hit record. So, if you will tell people a bit about your background and then reshare that conversation we had before I hit record. It was wonderful.
Okay, my name is Weiping Yu. I have a PhD in engineering physics from University of Wisconsin Madison. Okay, so right now I'm working at NASA as a subsystem crewed vehicle subsystem manager, and I'm the founder of the yuan theory of everything. It's a physical theory, try to unify all the phenomena under one particle, one force, one field, one principle, and one universe.
Amen. So, I'm going to screen share just a second and let people see. We have a beautiful slideshow, but I want people to see. So, this is the yuan. Is that how you pronounce that?
That's correct. A yuan, just like a muon electron, represent the fundamental particles in this
Okay.
case.
Yes. And then this is a summary too of your background, just so people can take screenshots. And I mean, this is amazing. And you're currently, as you said, with NASA. Um, so so tell my audience the conversation that we had beforehand, because you were explaining to me um, why you were inspired and motivated to go down this path in the first place.
Yes, the number one things I watched Lynn's video interview. I was inspired by the mission. She inspired to share her story, experience, to raise awareness and for humanity. Try to tell me. I was inspired your line, so I said, "Oh, okay, maybe I should share with your audience since you're a psychologist, right?" So I wanted to share my where did I got this motivation to start sharing my experience with the world.
Yes.
Um, after I got my PhD, and then I started to work at NASA. At one point, I opened up my college notes, the university notes in physics, in mathematics, and I find out so many works. But once I spent over two decades, over 24 years, studying physics, science, and after I work at the NASA. Sometimes I feel so like, oh, the universe seems like just this way, the life just that way. And I lack of inspiration in my life. So then I look at my college notes. I feel sad one day. I feel sad. I made such good college notes. And I thought that one day I might be use it. But the whole shift of notes after I work for NASA, and especially after my 50 years old, that's the point. I
Okay.
feel so like I probably would never look at my notes again, and nobody else even wanted to look at it. So, what is the purpose of my life? Spend up so many times, make such a notes, try to one day to help a world, right? Achieve some goals. I said, what's my goal? And I felt it's very difficult, when you started drowning in daily trivial life, work. And then I said, okay, so one of my dream one of the things I don't want to be regret at the time, I said, hey, I don't want to, on my last breath or on the deathbed, I would regret spent a whole lifetime to learn physics and without thoroughly understanding how universe works.
Yeah.
So then my goal started to be simple. Try to gain understanding of universe for myself,
Okay.
not just like during the school year for the grades, for rankings, or for find good jobs, and started truly sink in, say, what is the truth? What is something I still do not understand? So I started this called the journey, the adventure to discover what is the fundamental particles and how universe will be called evolve or evolved from there.
I think it's fascinating. You were telling me when we were talking that you started at NASA and you realized that you didn't understand what you'd been taught in physics, and neither did they. So tell me that part of your story.
Oh, one thing is about we have a lot of theories, right? From the classical theory, that's Newtonian mechanics, right?
Yeah.
Everything's emotions, we have a force and how that's part I'm very good at. And I truly believe I'm expert on that one.
Yeah.
But I get lost is somehow now we cannot, based on all the relativities, quantum mechanics, we have so many theory, and we're still waiting for new physics if you go to physical conference because nobody truly understand. So why we still do not have the adequate theory to explain anything? We still do not know called dark matter,
Yeah.
dark energy, which dark matter supposed to occupy like we the only matter we're supposed to know only is 4% of the real content of universe. We have a 23% of dark matter. We don't have no clue what they are. We only know suppose they are effect. We're missing matter, right? And also we have what is a 67% of this called dark energy. We still have so many, and we still don't know how gravity works. So I thought something's wrong. Something's wrong with physics, right?
Right.
I and with all these two things, people still try to develop some so-called string theory, supersymmetry, holographic simulation theory. So why that one? So that's something we fundamental wrong. So then I started to try to say, hey, where is the problem with current physics?
Yes.
I wanted to find where's the problem, and I was fortunate that I thought, okay, in order to solving the physical problems, the problems must related to the smallest particle in the universe.
Yes.
So I started to drill down. What is the smallest particle? What do we look like? And
Yeah.
to make the universe work. And then, to my surprise, I not only discovered the problem with physics, with all the foundations of physics. It's not just started from modern physics, even started with classical electromagnetism. And then established new theory, that's a Yuan theory of everything, which make everything so simpler.
So you studied um, everything there was to study in physics,
Yes.
and to help us understand this world and this universe. What is the foundation? How is it created? How does it work? And after all those years and all those college notes, and then going to NASA, where we all would think our best and brightest are at, even there, things you said weren't making sense even to the other scientists, to where they would leave the field of physics because it didn't make sense to them what they were being taught, right?
Yes. I wanted to expand that point. You mentioned that. Yeah, we discussed this one. I found one thing very, very interesting. My colleagues at NASA, okay, I'm not spoken with for NASA, okay.
Right,
I
sure.
just express my own opinion, okay.
Yes.
Say, many of my colleagues, so that, of course, they listened to my talk on the new discoveries, something. So they approached me. They said, "Hey, my first year in you at the college is a physics major." But eventually they turn out to most of the electrical engineer and the mechanical engineer, aerospace engineer, or fluids, the structure, mechanical, something. So I said, why you turn? They said, after 1 year, we do not find it make any sense. It's hard to comprehend. And when they raise questions to professor, the professor cannot answer. But they always have a way to deflect, right?
Right.
Make jokes and say, "Oh, that's the way it is, and you have to do this way," even though
It's
we
just it.
I may not be answering to you. So that's why I believe 99% of general population feel the same way. So I try to make the universe actually much simpler after I drill down. So where is the problem? And find out. In order to solve the problem, I said we have to find the smallest particle to explain entire universe. So that's why I started to drill. So what is the smallest particle? Where should I look at the smallest particle?
Right.
That's our whole journey. I want you to lead me to ask the questions.
So what um what made you know that to solve the problem of people really not understanding what the professors don't understand what they're being taught, students don't understand what they're learning. Once the students get in the workforce, especially a place like NASA, I mean, where our best and brilliant likely are, what they're saying, what they were taught makes no sense. So, how did you know to drill down? How did you know the solution was in drilling down to the smallest particle you could find?
Excellent questions. If everybody knows that one, you focus on that one. Actually, you just need to ask 5 or 6 questions. Why? Drill down. You will find the answer. Too bad. Not everybody did that one.
Yeah,
Since I studied so many years, I thought the universe cannot be such complex. So where is the problem? So I started to look at where to find the particle, the fundamental particle. I thought everybody has a problem with the light. Right now the physics has a problem with the light. We have a three type of different theories. One
okay,
theory called light is a particle
okay.
called photons. Basically, behavior just like what is it? Like a bullet traveling through space, right?
Yes,
When
I've
you
heard
have
that.
particle, you have a fixed matter, right? Materials and traveling across the space. So
Yeah,
that's particle theory, just like a raindrops.
yes,
And another theory called no, light is a wave. So-called wave. One thing about the wave concept actually is more deeper, more difficult to understand. So whenever talking about the wave, we were thinking about the wave like a water in the pond, right?
yeah,
If you
right,
drop a pebble, so what happens? The pebble create disturbance, right?
right.
Vibrate. The pebble is a particle,
Yes,
right? Or we call the source of the light source. They
yes,
create a disturbance, create a pebble.
yeah,
But how this light being be seen by everybody in the universe? Can you imagine? Say in the solar system, we have a sun in the center, right?
right,
So the sun, what sun does? Just create a new thermonuclear explosions, right, on the surface.
right.
So why we can see it? Does that mean the sun can generate the particles in every space, every part of the space to be seen by the whole universe, by everybody in the universe at the same time? Can sun generate that many particles? I said that that's impossible. So
Yeah,
what I did, I did a experiment
okay,
to find the sun is impossible to generate enough particles to be seen by everybody in the universe. So that created the need called wave concept, which means you have a water in the pond, fill up the entire pond. And then if you drop a pebble in the pond, that's created initial disturbance. That's what the light source did.
yeah,
And however, why everybody can see the light is because the pond, that's the medium. The pond create the ripples.
yes,
propagates throughout all three-dimensional space. So that's why we can see the ripples. The ripples, that's what we see. That's what we perceive as light.
Okay, the ripples.
Ripples. Let me emphasize, this is a very important concept.
Yeah.
Once you know what light is, you know what happens? So we wanted to know if a light particle, just like sun is initially initiate light, right? Is a particle. However, the smaller particle than the light source is what? Is the medium, the particle in the medium. The
Yes.
pond, the particles in the pond, right? That
Right.
propagates. That's where I said, hey, some particles smaller than the initial the sun. So that's why I started to draw down. But to make sure this sense, I want to show you example for
Okay.
your audience. I'm
Okay.
gonna demonstrate
Oh,
why light has to be a particle. I'm sorry, has to be a wave, cannot be particle.
okay.
I hope you are right now. You are my first
Oh,
on
good.
this show. You are
Okay.
my first student. See if that make any sense to you.
It
Okay.
does make sense. Yes, I'm following you.
Yeah, once you feel once that's whole discovery started. Once I understand what a light is, then I started to know what the smaller particle is, and then whole universe, whole the mysteries of the universe start to revelate itself. So excuse me, I'm gonna get my props to
Yes. Oh,
demonstrate right
yeah.
on the
Yeah.
screen.
Oh, I love it.
I hope that's okay with you.
Oh,
Okay.
that's wonderful. So this is exciting, everyone. What he's discovered is astounding, and we are learning the truth. In every field and every walk of life, we have been lied to. We have not been told the truth. And I've been bringing all kinds of people to you who have discovered the truth. And now we're going into physics, our foundations. How exciting. Yep, got it. Battery.
9-volt battery, just household battery, right? For alarm clock,
Okay.
for fire alarm. And
Yes.
another, it's a light bulb.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So what happens if I doing this one? Let me see how. Okay, if I can see this one.
Yeah.
If I
Oh, wow.
can
I
you
didn't know
can
you
you
could.
see the lights?
Yes, I can see the light.
You can see the lights, right?
Yeah.
So what if I turn around, turn positive to negative?
Yep.
What are you going to see light again if I doing the same thing?
I don't know.
The you can give a guess, right?
I'll guess no.
You guys know because originally it's positive and negative, right?
That's right. Oh, wow.
I
Wow.
hope you can see. Okay,
Yeah.
that's where most of the people I do this one in my outreach at NASA. Every year we have a family day or something, right? Bring student today. It has surprised lots of people. We being taught, the light. If you have a flashlight, if you turn battery around, right? It's
Yeah.
not going to work. But in terms of the principle,
Yeah.
as long as the electricity goes through the filament, right?
Yes.
It will create a motion and generate the light.
Yes.
Doesn't matter which way, positive to negative or negative to positive. Okay,
Yeah.
that,
Clearly.
that's the fundamental things that surprise everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not the key point. Okay,
Okay.
the key point is when you see the light. I'm in an auditorium can hold like 500 people.
Yeah.
Everyone, so I ask the people sit on the corner, different corner. I said, can you see the lights? Of course we can see. Why you even ask? I said, imagine if light is a particle, how many particles? How many particles can generate from this little bulb? To be seen everybody in the auditorium at a different distance, different angle, different location, different height, right?
Right.
How many people, how many light particles can generate it?
Right.
If you take the wall out, I would be just the little light bulb should be observed by the whole universe, even the fainter, right?
Right.
How many particles this little battery can generate particles in the whole universe? No matter where in the universe, you should be able to see it.
Right.
Of course, you just need just fainter, right? Suppose.
Right.
So I thought that means there's no way light can be particle can be generated by this little battery and create a particle occupy every single spot in
That's
space.
right. Impossible. Yep.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
And then the alternative is what happens if the space, if the auditorium already filled with the medium, the particle, just like a water,
Yes.
air. In the old days, they may call the ether. Just have a medium, just it's called the electromagnetic medium. What if the space is already filled with this one? And then the light bulb just create oscillation, just disturbance
Yeah.
in the field. What happens? Create
Ripples.
ripples. So
Ripples.
everybody in the universe, at least in the visible universe,
Yes.
you can see light. That means the light is a wave propagates to your eye. You do not see the original light source.
Right.
But the light source created the disturbance called vibration. The
Yes.
vibration has a certain period.
Yes.
The length of each period, that's called wavelength.
Yes.
So the wavelength, the ripple created the wavelength interact with the medium, propagates. So that's what we see the light. So then, you know what happens? I thought, so light source, whatever, have a light source, is not the smallest. I'm looking for the smallest particle, right?
Right.
And that's called the fundamental ultimate constitute of matter, right?
Right.
That's, and is that called what is it called? Atom in Greek terms. So atom is an indivisible, rigid, solid sphere.
Right. We're all taught that.
We're all taught. No.
No.
If that's the one, then we're gonna stuck with everything the current theory have. Okay. There's a slightly difference. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope that one. So this is so I think this demonstrated the needs for light propagation, needs for called medium. Does
Yeah.
that make sense to you?
It does make sense. It
I
makes
know
perfect
a lot
sense.
of lady are more, somehow I just feel a grasp a concept, especially when I talk, use figuratively, talk about
Yes.
it. I find that ladies grasp that were faster than men. Okay, there's no because men's more called a logical figure.
Analytical. That's right. Yes, they are.
Analytical.
And that's good.
Analytical is that because the left brain is more analytical, have a right brain, and turns out turns out more what is pictorial,
Yes,
more
pictorial. Yeah.
than the concept, right?
Yes.
So I wanted to demonstrate another things for you.
Yeah.
Still about the light. You know why I focus on so much about the light? I want everybody thoroughly understand.
Yes. Thank
If
you.
you understand the light has to be propagated through medium.
Yes.
So that's why I use many measures to convince myself. Oh my goodness, there's some medium there. Under the current theory, especially the special relativity theory,
Yes.
that would require no medium. The particle traveling, and the particle traveling at the speed of light. It
Yes.
has completely empty vacuum space, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Otherwise, you cannot have the speed of light. You have the complete empathy on the resistance, right?
Right.
So that's why I wanna show you another demonstration.
Okay.
Once you deeply agree with, light has to have a medium, then we can focus on what's the particles, smallest particle in the medium. Okay.
Yeah. I love this. So we're hearing truth, folks. We're hearing truth. You heard Dr. Yu talk about that he has been looking into this at the smallest particle level. He's been guided by God as he does this. And you heard starting out, um, the best and the brightest of all, what they're trained, it makes no sense to the professors, it makes no sense to the students, it makes no sense to the physicists, the scientists. So something is really wrong. This explains our whole world. Things don't make sense. And now we're coming to a point of the great awakening and the great exposure where we're all learning the truth together. All right, I'm ready.
And you see, I have three transparent films.
Yes.
Are you able to see through from the screen? Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Yes.
I try to see through myself. Okay, so
Yeah.
you can see through these three transparent films, right?
Yes.
You know, the purpose I try to demonstrate is light cannot be particle. Okay,
Right.
that's the purpose. So
Right.
now let's assuming I'm gonna use a counter argument. Let's assume light is a particle.
Okay.
Okay, so you see, light can go through individual transparent films,
Yes.
and also I stack them together.
Yeah.
So if a light is a particle, so light can go through three of them, right?
Right.
So light, what is the logical response for if I take one away? Only leave two transparent films here.
Yes.
So if I stack them, so light should be able to, the light should be able to go through two of them.
Right.
That's very logical, right? If light
Right.
can go through three of them, light should be go through two of them until.
Oh, wow. What'd you do? I don't get it.
You no longer see through it.
Oh,
You may see reflection. Okay,
right.
you cannot see through it, right?
Oh,
So now you said, what did I do?
right.
I did this. I rotate.
Right. And why would that make a difference like that?
So why you rotate? Suddenly light goes through. If I not rotate, light being blocked.
Right.
That means what? That means the light cannot be particle. If a particle can go through three transparent film, so
Right.
the particle should have nothing to do with I just rotate the angle. Is that right?
Right. It should have nothing to do with that. Yes.
So that means something else is in work.
That's
And
right.
what is you almost there. Once you got these two, I have to convince myself many different ways
Sure.
to conclude we have to have a medium. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So now you see, since rotation, so what happens to these transparent films? So these are basically is like a blinds. It's all stacked one way. You say like a blinds, all stacked
Yeah.
one way. So
Yeah.
allow the light only go through slit in horizontal ways or in vertical ways, but not in the other way.
Yeah.
So what happens? When light is a vibration, you know, anything vibrates. When you vibrate, the vibration has a plane, right? Whenever you want something vibrates,
Yes.
has to do plane. So in light, we call the polarized plane. So means wave. Whenever you have a wave vibrates has a plane.
Yeah.
So in order to see light, we have to see the wave, the whole wave, vibration wave. There's no particle involved, okay?
Right.
If a particle can go through, it goes through too. The reason it cannot see, you can't see them is because light is not a particle. It's a wave. Now I try to explain why wave can do the magic things.
Yeah.
So wave have a vibration plane. You have to see the whole called the valleys and the peak.
Yes.
The vibration whole period, valley
Yes.
peak, in order to see this wave and in order to perceive a light. So then, so these are have a one direction, the polarizer. Allow to say, in this case, allow light to vibrate this way, go through so we can see the whole position, whole trace of light. Mean the wave. Say means peak to valley to medium, the
Yes.
whole cycle we can go.
Yeah.
What happens if I turn this around?
Right.
So it block the wave, so X and the Y direction. So the wave from the wave oscillation, the wave cannot propagate through. So
Right.
what do we see? However, if it's a particle can go through it.
Right.
In wave cannot go through. So that's where I said, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
the truth is right under our nose.
Yes.
Right. So now I just want your audience, give a test of your audience. So now we know light is a wave. Wave needs a carrier, needs a medium, just like a water in the pond, right? Propagates.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what happens if I slide in this? I still have another one, right?
Yeah.
I said, hey, light was able to go through three of them. So now I put two of them block the light. So what happens if if I put this one back in? Yeah, I put the third back. Are you able to see through it or not? Just give a guess.
Yeah. I would say no.
Yeah, because the light being blocked,
Right.
and I'm not gonna change this one.
Right.
All right. So how come if I put another layers in there, even put it in the middle, you still cannot see through, right?
No, that's right. Can't.
Can't. That's based on the concept of light is a particle. When we believe particle, there's no way. Particle being blocked by two, how could a particle being go through three?
Right.
Look at it. I put it in the middle and the slides. I hope you can see.
I
Can you
can
see?
see. Yes, I can
When
see.
slide from the now you can see the back on the background. You can see my screen
Yes, I
on the back.
can.
Are you able to see? But you
Yes,
cannot see this part, right?
that's right. I can't. Why is this?
That's the wave phenomenon. The only explanation is the wave. There's no way for if you use particle theory, particle being blocked by two. How in the world you put the third one in, it becomes transparent again. Wave phenomenon. So
Oh,
I don't want to go into side, because wavelength is so small. So that's why it only partial 30, 45 degrees allow partially wave go through. And you see, I put 45 degrees,
yes.
allow partially the wave to go through. And if it's something, I don't want it to be there, but just let the audience to come out and answer themselves. That's the assignment for wave property of light. Okay. So you can leave that wonder and we can discuss it because that's going to take time. When I do a demonstration at Kennedy Space Center, we just had a bring students day to work. So
Yes.
I left as assignment. I said, now you know what light is. Light 100% wave, have nothing to do with particle whatsoever.
Right.
Whenever we see sunlight, I just want to emphasize, whenever we see sunlight, there is no particle traveling from a sun, go through the space after 8 minutes at the speed of light, right? Reach to our eye at the speed of light. There's
Right.
no particle. If
Yeah.
that was true, we're gonna be blind. Something traveling at the speed of light hit our eyes. So what we really see is the sun, the thermonuclear activity just create a disturbance in this called electromagnetic medium. Just create ripples. And these ripples traveling through space.
Wow.
When we see the light, is what? The particles in the medium. The particles
Yes.
in the medium, in the ripples, right?
Yes.
Next to our eye is vibrating. The ripples is vibrating, is transverse vibrating. So
Wow.
what we see light is the disturbance of light source and create a ripples wave. The wave propagates. Wave propagates is only propagates. How wave propagates is a vertical, is called a transverse. So say if a wave vibrates vertically this way, the wave front goes horizontal 90 degrees. So that we call the transverse wave. But you don't have to care about that. What that the effect is when we see light, is the particles next to our eyes vibrating, just vibrating.
Wow. So based on, so I'm sure whenever you explain this to students visiting at the Kennedy Space Center, they're probably like, what? This is not
Yes.
what we're taught. What are you saying?
Right. Completely different.
Yes. And how does this knowledge change our world, change our perception, change the foundation of what all of you guys were taught that wasn't correct, that our world is based upon.
Very good question. So then, once I realize the light is a wave, means wave have some kind of medium.
Yes.
So I was looking for smallest particle.
Right.
The smallest particle, the fundamental called a building block of the matter. So I
Yes.
said, hey, now I found the particles in the medium, are smaller than the light source, say electron, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
electron create the light, right? Electron motion. And so I said, okay, so what's the particles in this medium? So now you follow my thoughts?
Yes.
And then we all know one thing is about it. The light wave or some particle, doesn't matter, is called electromagnetic. Sometimes the classical theory defines
Yes.
light as an electromagnetic wave.
Yes.
So what happens? So that means this medium must have magnetic, electromagnetic, must have a magnetic property. Is that
Yes.
right?
That's right.
How can you carry electromagnetic wave if this wave itself does not have
Yes.
electromagnetic?
Yes. I
Am I
follow.
make sense to you?
Total.
If you can follow me, I can see. If you can follow me by end, you will be better than most of the physicists professors. just like my co-anchor, I'm a co-anchor called
Yes.
a
Yourself.
neighborschoice.com.
Yes.
So that's my
Yes.
and he's a communication major in college, right?
Yeah.
Now he's talking about the physics now.
Sure.
So I wanted to make sure you understand the properties of the medium.
Yes.
Once you know the properties of then you know what kind of particle can make this medium.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Okay, I'm gonna demonstrate with you. Probably, this is the only time I can demonstrate something for me from the very, very fundamental, one
Oh,
step at a time. So
okay.
maybe your audience like it.
Yes.
Maybe general public could like that one too. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna demonstrate
Okay.
what the property of the medium. Once I know the property of the medium, then I can guess, right? So
Right.
what particles make the medium?
Right.
Make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Oh, good. Another demonstration. So very exciting. This is a morning podcast, a very exciting morning. Okay, I can hardly wait.
I hope you can see.
I
I
can.
use a golf ball and the spring. Simulate elastic materials.
Okay.
Simulate the elastic materials in the world. One thing is about all the materials, include the water, liquid, solid, liquid, or even gas. We are compressible, right? Everything can be compressed.
Yes.
However, you release it, they bouncing back.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
means every materials have elasticity. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
If no elasticity, you compress it, it will stay there. That's called a plastic deformation. Start there. We know you compress, they bouncing back.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, the properties of I'm gonna focus on the property of the medium, right?
Okay.
In order for the medium to propagate the light, it has to have an elasticity. If you disturb one part, you know what happens? The rest of the medium vibrates with them.
That's right.
So that's why I said, okay, the medium has to be elastic. You follow me?
Yes.
Now, if you make notes, your notes will be very, very important for audience to follow.
I think when I take notes, it's like, okay, yes, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So now we studied the property of the medium. And now we said that in order for medium to propagate light, it has to be elastic. So you have a disturbance at one point, it will propagate through the water, right? So okay. So now, what force make elasticity? Did you see my questions go deeper, right?
Yes, yes.
From the light?
Yes.
From the light, we know we need a medium.
Yes.
From the propagation of the medium, we try to understand what's the property of the medium. It has to have elasticity.
Yes.
Now, let's go one step deeper. Another question. See, if we keep asking our question, we will still drill down to the fundamental particles.
Yes. Yes.
Because you are such you're a psychologist, right? You're such a good listener. Okay, so
thank you.
so I hope your audience can follow you, and you can sometimes make an explanation to your audience what I'm heading to, right?
Yeah, they're following you. Trust me, if I am, they am. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So what make things elastic? I just tell you, I'm not questioning.
I know. I wouldn't answer anyway.
Did you see I have 3 magnets? Did you see magnets?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool. That looks fun. Uh-huh.
I put on the toy. My son sometimes, hey, this color distracting, But little girls love it.
I was gonna say, I like it,
You like it, okay.
I do.
Did you see I have a magnets? And what happens if I turn this way? Did you see the vibration part?
Yes, I do.
That's what the elasticity. Did you see? That's the elasticity part.
Yeah.
Elasticity means you display them, but once you release it, it has a recovery force. Go back.
Yeah.
I said the medium must be elastic in order to propagate the light.
Right.
So where does the medium come from? Where does the elastic come from?
Right.
Magnetism.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can tell your eyes.
Yeah.
The other day I would try to explain some concept to Ashton Forbes.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard of this gentleman. Very smart young man.
Oh, okay.
he has over 250,000, almost 300,000 followers on X. Okay.
Oh.
When I explained, I saw his eyes flashes.
Yeah.
You can see something going on in the brain. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can see similarity from your side. So now we go further. The things make this medium propagate has to have a magnet. Magnetic has to have the magnetic attraction and the repulsion. So it's not just attraction force, has a repulsion force to keep them have a distance.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Now, my questions to my students say, hey, if every matter are elastic matter, even diamond, okay, have elastic modules, okay? So, and in order for things to have elasticity created by magnetic attraction and repulsion force.
Yes.
So then I ask, so what kind, let's assume these are atoms, or the particle of the medium. So what these particles are? Can you give a guess?
No. No, this is your job. My job is to ask questions and understand.
Lynn, you are smarter than you believe. You may think, but this is a tricky questions. Actually, this is very fun. What particle can create a magnetic force? Magnets.
Oh. Oh, so it was not a trick question. Very good. Okay, yes.
Does that make sense now? Yeah, in order to create this medium, the particle has to magnetic force. So magnets, only magnets can create a repulsion and attraction.
Right.
So what's the particle in the medium that carry the light? That could be because the light wave can be infinitely short, right?
Right.
Light, you can make a light vibrating infinite fast. That means the frequency infinite high and wavelengths can be infinite short.
Yes.
So that means guarantee you the smallest particle can be infinite small is in this light carrying medium.
Well, sure. Yes, that makes sense.
And that particle has to have a elasticity.
Yes.
Have to have a magnetism. So yes. What is that? What is the particle of the medium?
Are you asking me a question?
Yes, yeah. Or your audience.
I feel the pressure.
Magnets.
Magnet.
Just magnet particles. Did you see? I drill down
Yeah, you drilled
to the
down.
smallest particle.
Yes.
Oh, it has to be have a magnet. Without magnet, it's not going to come up with elasticity. Without the elasticity, the medium cannot carry light,
Right.
cannot propagate the light.
Right.
Okay, so now the questions for me, a deeper question now. Is this magnetic particle is the only the smallest particle in the world?
Right.
We
Right.
could have a magnetic particles,
Yeah.
right? But is this particle can be the smallest and the only particle? I'm going to demonstrate that.
Oh, good. Another demonstration.
Once you understand this one, you will understand the entire physics.
Oh, wow. And I didn't even
And
go get a degree.
oh my goodness, you will find you did not waste a time and any moment. You will feel like the PhD, most of the PhD started for like me 20 decades, right?
Right.
Probably say 24 years. Probably 23 years are wasting our time. You're almost there,
I'm
Lynn.
almost there. And of course, the 23 years weren't wasted. You had to learn all of that to learn what you didn't believe in. It's like our time here so far on Earth. We've been on Earth for many years, and everything we've learned is wrong. So, so now we're unlearning. I think it's great.
So now I try to say, remember, we already drew down, say, the smallest particle has to be have a magnetic feature, right?
That's right.
But we don't know is the magnetic particle is the only particle can exist.
Right. Right.
That's what I try to say.
Yeah.
Yes, if not a magnetic particle, it cannot exist, cannot be observed, and cannot be have the universe we have. So you
Right.
know where I'm going, right?
Yeah, I
I'm
do.
going to demonstrate it. So what happens if a particle is not a magnetic particle? What happens? We, based on the current physics, say, hey, we have a called an electron. Have you heard of an electron?
Yes, I've heard of electrons.
What an electron to you is a negative charge particle. Is that right?
Yes.
Smallest negative. And also, have you heard of a proton and a neutron?
Yes.
Those are bigger than electron, right?
Yes.
Almost 2,000 times bigger. Exactly will be 18,036, of electron mass, equivalent to one proton mass. Okay,
Okay. Very good.
almost 2,000 times. And the proton, what a proton? Proton is a positive charge. So my question is, they are not a magnetic particle. You
Right.
agree,
They're
right?
not. Yeah,
They
they're
are
not.
not a magnetic particle.
No.
They said that there is a negative charge and
No.
positive charge.
Right.
Can they exist? So that's my question. So I said, hey, let's assuming this is an electron and this is a positron.
Okay.
I did not use a proton. You can say this is proton too, so positive charge particle, right? Since
Right.
I made this size, say electron and positron, they are
Okay.
opposite charge, same mass. Okay, opposite charge. So can these things exist? So I try to prove they cannot exist. You follow
Oh,
me?
wow. Wow.
You
Okay.
follow me?
I'm
When you
following.
know these are cannot exist, you know entire electromagnetic theory
It blows it up.
blows up. Entire physics talking about what is chemical reaction, electron bonded with that one. So you already know the significance. So
Wow.
now I hope you follow my logic. Once you get this one, you know you did not waste any time
No, I did.
in your life. So now I'm gonna use this one to demonstrate why electron, the negative charge particle, cannot exist.
Right.
Assuming this is a negative charge particle. So what happens if I split as two halves? Did you see that one?
I did.
I did this one literally, but actually, what I mean is figuratively,
Yeah.
hypothetically divide. Because any particles are made by smaller components. Can we see that one?
Sure.
Everything has a smaller component, right? And we know electron has a mass, right? Just
Right.
half of the mass. So what kind of charge, imaginatively say, what kind of charge the half of the electron would carry? We know electron carry a negative charge particle,
Yes.
negative charge. So if you say, hey, half of them should have a negative charge particle on half of them, does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Logical sense, right? Can we, okay, this is very important. If we hypothetically divide the electron into smaller piece, so the smaller piece half would be carry negative charge particles based on everything we learn, right? Logically learn.
Right.
Can we put them back together? If we have to have two of the negative charge particles, can we put them back together? Can we reunite them together?
Yeah.
No, we can't.
Yeah. Because you
The
can't.
reason is
Not too negative.
like charge repel.
That's right.
So if we cannot put in together, how could this one exist in the first place? Make sense to you? Are you still following me?
Yeah, I'm still following you.
I hope your audience will follow me.
I'm sure they
What
are.
conclusion is that? The
Well,
so-called negative charge particle cannot exist. So the current definition of electron, positron, or we say, hey, a proton cannot exist.
no, it can't.
And now that's the implication. Now let me tell you, if
Right.
we cannot,
Right.
what kind of implication we have for physics?
You're right. Yep.
This is the physics model we have, right?
Yes.
Let me turn the light a little away from there, okay?
Okay.
Or this model.
Yes.
This is called, that's the current physical model. Is based on this one. So we have an electron are free orbiting on the
Yes.
orbitals, around the nucleus.
Yes.
So that's our foundation
Yes.
of everything, the
Yes.
physics, right? What's next? I try to. This foundation is fundamentally wrong. This model does not even exist.
Right. Right. They
Are you still following me?
Yes,
I
I
said
am.
this is the foundation of physics, and this is not correct.
I
We do
know.
not have these items like this one.
Uh, something else that we've been told that isn't true. I'm astounded at it. I'm listening.
Okay, so how we conclude that model? How we derive that model? Science are not scientists. We have a lot of best and the brightest one, right?
Yeah.
They initially they based on the beliefs. I believe this is J.J. Thomson discovered electron and named the electron as a negative charged particle in 1897. In
Okay.
1897, it's 19th century. Okay,
Yeah.
and he named the electron as negative charged particle. What happens? And he won Nobel Prize for that. And then somebody else discovered positron. I would say called a proton.
Yeah.
At least 3 people win Nobel Prize for that one. And then somebody discovered neutron. You have a next charge particle, you have a neutral particle, and also win Nobel Prize. And then based on then if you have an electron and have a nucleus made by proton and neutrons, how can they fit together? How this particle can fit together? The only way is orbiting. They cannot contact. If contact, you know what happens? Called matter-antimatter annihilation. Matter lost. Okay.
That wouldn't be a good thing.
That won't be good thing. So that's why the only thing they can keep in a balance. Say if this is a nucleus, electron cannot in contact, have to keep in motion, right?
Right.
And have to certain velocity.
Right.
Is a fraction of the speed of light. How speed,
Yeah.
For every atom. So that's why we come out with this atomic model.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically says every atom has so much motion, so many energies. And where comes this energy? Where comes this force? What keeps them constant in motion?
Yeah.
Nobody can explain. And that would make, if that is true, that would make every single atom be a perpetual motion machine,
Yes, it would.
right?
Yes.
And the atom is the most stable structure. So that's why we have an atomic clock, because we believe atoms vibration. You measure the frequency, vibration frequencies, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so that's why we can make an atomic clock. That's the most accurate clock right now we have. Is
Yeah.
based on atomic
Yep.
model.
Yep.
So if every single atom is a perpetual motion, where comes the energy? And the physics, physics know one thing. Very few things we can agree together. But the one thing we do agree, there's nothing called a perpetual motion machine. Because everything, all the motions, you have frictions, you have drags, you
Right.
have interact with neighboring, like every particles, right? Interacting with
Right.
neighbors. How can the energy that does not dissipate? And every single atom constantly in motion like a perpetual motion machine. So that does not make sense, right? Yeah.
It does not make sense.
And then, so now the reason what's wrong with the atomic model, because we're assuming electron is a negative charge,
Yes.
assuming protons are positive charge.
Yes.
That's the root cause.
Yeah.
And what happens if this is wrong? This is wrong means this atomic model would be not correct, what totally incorrect. There's nothing orbiting them. Just like we observed, we have a lot of laboratory images of atoms, right? There's
Yes.
nothing rotated based on all the energies. There's nothing rotated. But we still blindly believe somehow inside of this belief. So now I wanted to tell you what's the consequences. This is the latest. This is the latest and the greatest physics theory. Oh my goodness, the image is a mirror image. Okay,
Okay.
that's quantum mechanics. That's called a standard model of particle physics. That's the latest and greatest theory of humankind
Okay.
about physics. If you look at the center model,
Yep.
the center, the little what is a bluish the center, that's
Yep.
considered of the nucleus, made by, did you see those things have a protons, neutrons, and the proton neutrons are made by even smaller particles called quark. We don't have to care. But you know what about the yellow ring, the outside ring?
Yeah.
That's where the orbital is, right? Electrons are orbiting that one. What that means, entire, the latest, the greatest, the physics we are teaching in the universe on every textbook, physics textbook, unfounded,
Unfounded. Well, there
completely wrong.
you go. I'm astounded at how people can just make stuff up, get Nobel Prizes, and then teach us all their fantasies as if it was all true. And then we all base everything we do on these fantasies that people make up to get Nobel Prizes when I could do it. I mean, I could sit here and make stuff up, Dr. Yu, and just
I think your work does propel you towards one Nobel Prize,
thank you.
Nobel Peace Prize,
Nobel Peace
not
Prize.
Physics
That's right.
Prize. Okay.
Not physics. No, no, that's
Because
your that's what you need.
um, I do have a pushback. I noticed one professor, very smart and a very prominent professor. I don't want to say his name on here.
Sure.
And he made a video, try to counter my point. But he said,
Oh,
hey, Dr. Weiping Yu said the electron can be split into split as two. Even though I said this hypothetically, you don't have to actually split it, right? Hypothetically, just imagine what happens to her. Yeah, he disagreed. And he also disagree. Oh, hey, Dr. You mentioned about gravity. Gravity is not a fundamental force. He said, since Albert Einstein developed called general theory of relativity, gravity defined of the bending of the space and the time, geometric something. I don't know anybody truly understand. If you understand your word figure, that make no sense of
right,
it.
right.
And he also, hey, Dr. Yu claims that there is no free electrons orbiting the atoms. He said Since we taught over 100 years, we know there's an electron orbiting the nucleus.
Wow.
He showed that pictures. Okay.
Wow.
But
Wow.
he's I have no personal feeling against him. He's respectful physical processors at the West Coast, a very famous professor, and he's leading with the research, made lots of presentation. I believe somebody mentioned about he's almost a Nobel Prize winner.
Mm.
in his physical research. Okay.
Yes,
And
yes.
he
Well,
also mentioned about the things, say, hey, somehow Dr. Yu said there is no the strong nuclear force and the weak nuclear force does not exist.
so you are messing with their holy grail. I mean, you are messing with their foundational principles, trying to tell them that all of the hooey that they have been preaching to everyone else is wrong, and they can't take it, so they're going to give pushback. Um, I think it's I think it's fascinating. This has happened to every person that I know that I call a truther, where they have the truth and they're speaking. If it goes against the grain, if it goes against what we've been taught our whole life,
Establishment.
the
Go
establishment,
against the
yes, yes,
green. Yes, that's
yes,
exactly it.
they push back, and they can push back hard, and they bring the highly educated, and I'm putting this in air quotes, very professional, the elite, the biggest of the best, to say we're wrong, but it doesn't matter anymore. It's like you said, these degrees are rather meaningless. Even in physics, I find it fascinating that no matter what the field is, we've just been not told the truth. And they keep regurgitating it and regurgitating it and repeating it as if, what was it Barnum Bailey that said if you say something over and over and over, people just believe it? So people just,
A lie repeat, someone said that a
yeah,
lie repeat 1,000 times or becomes the truth, right?
yes, yes, yes. And we're all here in our own areas that God's called us to dispel the lies with the truth. What we have about 25 minutes left. Um, God, how did God play a part in your discovery and in urging you to keep down this path?
You know, most of the scientists, just like me and something, okay, we do not, when we were studying, we do not think about God.
Right,
Okay.
right.
But you know what happens? When you drill down the questions, that's where I found that we cannot avoid God.
Yeah,
The reason they
yeah.
said, hey, if based on your theory, the smallest particle and the only particle, I call the Yuon, universal particle, Yuon. Does now the Yuon make sense to you?
Oh, it
Universal
does.
on means particles, right?
Yes,
U means universal particle, and the only particle,
yes,
fundamental level, is a magnetic particle. So people say that, who made this magnetic particle? What's the origin of magnetic particle?
yes.
I could not explain, I just say it existed forever by itself, or could be simply say God make it. Does that make sense to you?
That's
Because I really have no answer. But I thought, okay, that's easy way to say this is the time we say that who created this matter. And
yeah,
I believe that's the form, fundamental form of the matter is magnetic matter. So
yes,
if not a magnet, you know what happens? We cannot combine two particles together.
right,
Somebody would say, hey, can gravity combine matter together? No, gravity cannot combine two matter together.
right.
Because gravity force is too weak, just like a sand. You
Yes,
cannot make two sand form a bigger sand, right? There's not enough force. So what force make them combine? So I would say magnetic force. How big magnetic force? Magnetic force equals to 10 to the 36 powers of gravity force. You see, 10 to the 36 powers, 10 times E, 36 zero. greater than that. So that's why if just gravity without this magnetic, we will never see a particle in our eye anywhere. Okay. So the universe will not be existing. So I hope I give you answer. See, so when do I find the need God? I would say, oh, no way. There's no way you can. I cannot explain this one. I cannot say who created magnetism. I cannot explain who created matter in the first place. I cannot explain that one,
Right.
right? So
Right.
this is a part of, I believe, oh my goodness, something has to create. I want to emphasize one thing. Previously, I talked about in the ancient Greeks concept of atom is indestructible, indivisible particles.
Okay.
They never mentioned about the magnetic particle, means it does not carry magnetism. So in Yuan theory, the smallest particle is a universal fundamental magnetic particle.
Yeah.
Magnetic particle, what happens? It carries positive charge and the negative charge at the same time.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Another place I found, I just try to educate myself. Am I able to explain these things without incurring a super nature, like a God of the beings, right? Another way is I read the Bible, a Bible talking about the consciousness or everybody, said God or Jesus reside in every drop of blood, every particles, every cell, every particles in your body, right?
Right.
So I said, so what are particles? What are the things really reside in every single cell, single particles? Ion particles.
Yes.
That's made up all the particles in the universe.
Wow.
And it resides everywhere. So that means this magnetic force, the positive and negative, the like pole repel and opposite pole attract. That's a fundamental law. Exists everywhere. And include origin, not the origin of the universe, and include the origin of life, include the origin of consciousness. If you are interested, I can explain. But just say,
I'd love your thoughts. Yes, you just share what you want to.
okay, I just share with you about the origin of consciousness.
Yes.
If you look at the definition of consciousness, right? The definition of consciousness is awareness, existence of yourself and the surroundings. How can you awareness yourself and the surroundings? Through what? That means you have a through distance. You can tell their object. If you have a magnet nearby a refrigerator door, right? It will be pull you in there because attract you. And two magnets, if opposite, they're gonna repel,
Right.
right? Yeah, like pole would attract, opposite pole would. So magnets is something can sense awareness over distance, can sense object over the. So the consciousness is really a manifestation of magnetic fields.
Wow.
Have you think about it? When you thought of, just like we are talking about, we are sharing something, your thoughts may not be contained inside of the brain. Do you feel like your
Yes,
thoughts could go beyond the brain, right?
that's right.
Sometimes it could be so big,
Yes.
because the consciousness is stored as electromagnetic signals in this magnetic fields. I hope that makes sense to you.
Well, it does. And let me put this in my words and see if
Yes.
it matches what you're saying. So I have always believed, and it has been my experience, that I go to the creation story in Genesis in the Bible, and God created everything, and he did it with words and thoughts. So I have always believed that words and thoughts carry a frequency that has creative power, like a ripple effect. And so in my mind, um, the consciousness, we can start manifesting things in reality by what we think. So, for
Yes.
example, during COVID, there was so many lies, and people bought into the lies and the fear, and they started thinking and speaking fear, and all of a sudden everything got worse and worse and worse. And I believe that part of that was because we unintentionally created it from that ripple effect of everyone.
Resonance, the ripple effect to the entire becomes group, uh,
Yes,
group effect, right? It's
yes,
called the herd mentality. Is that right?
yes. And I've always thought, believed, and I do it based on Genesis. God created and we're children of God. So what we say, the frequency that comes, as we speak, we're emitting ripples of frequency. And as we think, that comes out as ripples of frequency, and it has creative power outside of us.
People resonate with you. When people resonate, the same things resonant theoretically could the intensity can go to through called the infinite level.
Yes,
So that's why can manifest becomes one thought could become entire movement,
yes,
change the entire universe.
yes. I think so. I do. I do. Yes. And whenever we all get together, so we think about the things happening today that we're very unhappy with. And your field is one. I mean, physics has never made sense. It hasn't made sense to anyone, and yet they're perpetuating this falsehood. It's everywhere. I mean, you name the system, and it's just perpetuating. And because we didn't know and bought into it by our words and thoughts, we perpetuated things that aren't true. But now we have a break in that perpetual ripple effect. Like this conversation, it's like, no, we're stopping that false ripple effect and we're creating a true one, which can change the world.
Yes, I feel so we are resonating
Yes,
our thoughts. I hope we can generate this wave or even movement
yes,
fundamentally
yes,
changing our world through technology innovation.
yes,
One problem I have with the current called the standard model of physics,
yeah,
it has no guidance, no principle, no direction to chemistry. Have no use to chemistry. Only make chemistry super complicated. You know, those electrons somehow has to bind in location, but they are not orbiting or not orbiting. Then what happens? They can make catastrophic, catastrophic occurred. They're gonna impact with the nucleus, right? Have no guidance, no help to chemistry, and or even counter productive to biology.
right,
Biology talking about mass, the universe is not chaotic it started. Universe gradually becomes ordered, right? So that's why things can grow from quite from planets or animals or the human beings. Human is not like eventually called dissipated entropy, dissipated becomes useless energy. That's exactly falsehood to biology. So biology professor probably have a stronger support for me. So based on physics, you talk about the second law of thermodynamics. Everything that becomes, dissipated, useless, this without the structure. So why we see everything's come out with life, with growing, with something is advancing the society, right? So
right,
and also have no guidance to medicine, to medical, human health, nutrition, health, and the medicine. All this kind of generate so many you include some called what is a vaccine or some kind of drugs, some cancer therapies only destroy. people's immune systems. And eventually people died not because of the disease itself, becomes a cure is worse than disease.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. And all of this, I mean, this is so boiled down so simply to me. What you've discovered simplifies all of this. It just brings such peace and calms everything down to where it's simple. And then that's the foundation to build on. Because you're right, based on the false foundation they gave us, it's infiltrated everything, biology, medicine, and they're creating worlds that are destructive, believing that um, we were created in chaos and we're going to disappear and waste to nothing. So they're contributing toward that, as opposed to we're building, we're growing, we're getting better, we're evolving, we're improving. We're that is not part of our models. That is not part of our biology and our. I find this astounding, Dr. Yu. I mean, on so many levels, what you've discovered is astounding. It gives us the physics that's the foundation of belief systems to be able to, I believe moving forward, we're here to create a better world. We're not here to continue on believing all of these falsehoods we've been told since it appears the 1800s. It appears like that's whenever quite a bit of this started, all these falsehoods in all of our fields. And we're here now to uncover the truth, well, uncover the falsehoods and explain why they're false, and then explain what actually is happening. And then that way we can take that and remove from our current systems all the falsehoods and put in the truth so that we can build a better world. Yeah?
100% agree with you. You are on a mission, and I wanted to join your mission to make awareness to public, not only those abused child, right, and even for general public. We are somehow some thoughts still in Stone Age, in the Dark Age. I
Yes.
want to make you one example. Actually, my co-host
Yeah.
David Gnorski, he mentioned he said one audience after our radio show sent him a note. Somehow, Dr. Yu's theory saved his life.
Wow.
He feels tired, lived only in 30s in 30s or something. Probably the well-being, we'll see, get tired of all the material things and find why am I struggling with the physics, with the universe? I don't understand any of them. Talking about physics, chemistry, and biology, or medicine, or something, feels like tired of life. He said,
Yeah. In his
I said,
30s.
yeah, he sent the notes to me. I still kept that notes
Yeah.
somehow. So I thought that the important thing for me is the journey I started to try to understand the universe for my own purpose.
Yes.
So I feel like a peace after I discovered in 2013, over 10 years ago, yeah, 12 years ago. And I feel like my mission or my goal of life, maybe that's the God, empowered everybody have their personal journey. And I have a peace, have a total peace with me. I'm no longer afraid to die because I already know my final or fundamental form of matter is just little tiny of ions, the little magnets. And what happens after you dissolve yourself? The consciousness, my consciousness could be still existed in this universe, in the field, right?
That's
The
right.
source of something could be still there.
Yes.
However, my physical body at the fundamental state is a magnetic particle started coming, combine itself, started evolve itself, could coming back someday. Or maybe not back to this form, but it could be eternally lives in some form.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, This has been a very lovely discussion, and I'm so honored to have you on my podcast today. And you have taught me so much and opened my eyes to so much that I never knew, as I know none of my audience has ever heard before. And I, I love hearing the truth. I love hearing um, where we haven't been told the truth, what it actually is, so that way we can move forward more peaceful and in a manner to rebuild and create the world that we want. So thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for your knowledge and your expertise and your message. It is a huge blessing to me. Do you have any final words before we close off?
I'll just say, number one, it's such an honor to discuss with a prominent psychologist
Oh,
and just treat as a human being. So my appreciation. The second thing I wanted you all to know, the universe is actually very simple. It only made by one particle. You know, the particle of yuan, just little magnetic particle. And all the existing uh, things are composite particles made by just fundamental magnetic particle. The universe is very simple. And with this new discovery, I believe we can have a free or cheap energies for everybody. And we can develop new technologies. We can transmute the materials into different types like in old days, it's like alchemy, something, right? But I do believe, if we understand that the structure, the only things is different than structure. If we understand the fundamental property and its different structure, once we understand, we can make any real earth materials or any precious metals available in your laboratory. We don't have to fight never-ending wars, right? Fighting for resource. The universe could be very simple, and God is great. It will help everybody. So that's my final words.
well, amen. And I love that because it gives hope and our ability to create better things for humanity. I love that. And one small correction, I'm not officially a psychologist. Um, it's true. My master's is in industrial organizational psychology, and it's a form of psychology. And frankly, after all the years of therapy I've had, I feel like a psychologist.
You're
But
probably better than most psychologists based on their education, based on the degree.
yeah, and I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that. So God bless you for having for being on my show today and having all this knowledge and expertise to give us. And I always close my show with the truth, which is God is absolutely good. Thank you.